That's a good angle. I like it. You got the background clouds slowly going by. You probably watch this on 2 or 3x speed. It'd be like, you can watch the clouds look all fast and stuff. Anyway, my phone's resting on a pizza box, and I think there's gonna be ants, so I might have to pause it at some point and attack them to make sure they don't devour my pizza. But now I want to talk about something. As per usual, yeah, somebody over here is obviously in a crisis, as you can tell by sirens right when I turn on the camera, perfectly on time to interrupt my train of thought. But no, anyway, now I really want to talk about something because I don't think a lot of people understand a lot of things. Let me tell you something about America first. We are forced to use a dollar that is fiat. It's not backed by shit. They took us off the gold standard in the 70s. JFK actually, was it the 70s? I think it was 70s. Oh man, here comes a weird person. Should I just pause this and hold on? Alright, shit's getting a little crazy out here, okay? Nah, but anyway, we're forced to use one type of money. And what that essentially does, since they're allowed to, it's fractional reserve banking, it's basically a fucking, credit's like a Ponzi scheme. They create money, charge interest, and the only way to pay that interest is create more money with more interest, and so on and so forth. So there's accumulating interest. That's why you always see those memes talking about, oh, the whole world's like $300 trillion in debt. To who? To the fucking Ponzi scheme that we call fiat money, which is fractional reserve banking credit, essentially. And there's been people who tried to, circumvent that. Abraham Lincoln created greenbacks to pay the fucking troops during the Civil War. And then there was a prosperous period right after that. One of the most prosperous periods in American history, actually. JFK created a silver certificate with executive order 11110. 111, yeah, that's 410. Then they shot his ass. He was probably for numerous things, but a lot of people speculate that was one of the things, trying to undermine the Federal Reserve. The Federal Reserve is privately owned. There's member banks that are basically the lines of credit, but it's all like a Ponzi scheme. It's fractional reserve banking. It's a fucking scam. I could go into history of that, just banking. Essentially, it used to be people deposit gold in banks and they'd loan out the gold, while people left it there. But then they realized, people started just trade with the like deposit receipts as like paper money. So they realized they didn't have to give out physical gold, so they just gave out receipts. And the fractional part is that they gave out way more receipts than there was actual gold. So they had a fraction in reserve in actual gold of how many fucking receipts that they gave out in the form of loans and stuff. So it's just like a fiat, like balloon thing with all this paper money. All the paper money used to be banknotes. But anyway, the whole point is a big fucking scam. Scam money. And so what they do now, it's with computers and everything, they just print the fuck out of it and they buy up everybody's labor. They buy your labor, your fucking land. Dude, they literally they force us to use this ghetto fiat money, this shitcoin dollar, and as we're forced to use it, they say everything else is going to be used for like illegal activity, so it has to be a dollar or some shit. They say can't use, like, we can use gold, silver, Bitcoin, numerous fucking things. That's what I call free market of money. We should have competing currencies for market share, right? We get a better product that way when there's competition in a free market. But they force us to use the shitcoin dollar because it's an exploit. And when we're forced to use the shitcoin dollar, they can just print, issue credit, and loan it out to people, and they could buy up fucking everything. They do. They already have. And in the process, they're going to inflate the currency, raise the cost of living for everybody, and really at the source, like the source of new money coming in, like they go directly to the market and purchase them. It's not until it kind of makes its way down into the market that the prices adjust. So as a fresh money's coming in, the prices are still low, so they can get things at a lower price. So the banks create money, loan it to people that they choose based on, I don't know, a lot of times it's like nepotism and stuff like that. Bro, I'm not even trying to be funny. I heard Jews get 0% loans. 0% interest on loans, bro. It's fucking crazy. But so yeah, like they issue credit selectively, and whoever can get the most credit can go to the market while prices are still low buy up a whole bunch of shit. You know, it could be, you know, working capital, it could be real estate, whatever. And then as that new money trickles in, then the prices go up. And then it's like a Ponzi scheme. You know, they issue new credit perpetually, and as they do, prices go up, and then they could sell the assets that they buy for a profit, and there's all types of shit. But essentially, we've been robbed. We've been forced to use fake fiat money. Do I got pause this shit with all the stupid noise around me? Sometimes I try to work through it, but then it just gets worse and worse, and it's stupid. So sometimes I just gotta stop and pause and fucking. Do I got to? Is that what it is? Stupid idiots are swarming right now. Is that what's happening? Nah, but anyway, we've been forced to use the fake money, and they essentially fucking have bought up everything, and we've been robbed. Like, generational wealth has been robbed. Like, our inheritance has been robbed. Literally, they will. Bro, I could go so deep on this subject, bro. Like, let's just say old people. They live in like a part of fucking town, and real estate prices are going up because, I mean, there's various factors, but you know, just the inflation could cause real estate prices to go up. You know, they print or issue new money for mortgages, you know, loans, home loans, and that's money directly going to compete for new housing, you know, whatever, houses for real estate, and that competition boosts prices up like crazy. So there could be someone that bought off their whole home, and because they tax them perpetually on these pieces of land, property, whatever, a lot of old people will be priced out of their own homes that they fucking bought fucking decades ago. And the taxes go up, and they might be on some fixed income, retirement income or something, and they can't even keep their own fucking home, so they're forced into homelessness. Do you understand that? Like, elderly people who should be retiring in comfort, you know, did all the right things, whatever, are essentially being forced into homelessness because of the financial situation. So, I mean, that's just one example. I mean, there's so many fucking examples of this. It's just fake money issued to certain people selectively, and then those people can buy up fucking everything and inflate the currency, inflate the fucking cost of living, and everybody's struggling while being robbed simultaneously. It's like a fucking, it reminds me of like, there goes the retard shit. I swear to God, it's like every time my energy goes up, like people can sense it and they like react. It's a spiritual thing. But it reminds me of Indiana Jones, where like I think it was a crystal skull, and he like switched it for the bag of fucking rocks. It's like they took the real shit and switched it for fucking fake money. Like, that's essentially what's happened. A big switcheroo. We've been fucking robbed of everything. Every fucking thing, bro. That's why a handful of people own everything, dude. You understand that? I mean, there's so much more to that. We're going to talk about like index funds that people are investing in. They give them fucking, you know, these couple companies, BlackRock, Vanguard, I think it was like another one, but it gives them all like the fucking voting power in these mega corporations. You know, they basically run corporate policy for the whole fucking world, you know, because people invest in these index funds. You're handing them money and your voting rights. I don't know. So there's just so much going on, bro. But people are essentially being robbed and they don't even know it. And we can talk about America with the standard of living that we have is actually, it's a fraud. It's based on a high value, the Bretton Woods system, high value dollar overseas, the dollar being used as a reserve currency, so it has a high exchange rate. There's like demand internationally for it, and so it has a high value in international markets. So we have cheap imports. That's why everything's fucking imported. But what that has essentially done is undermine our own manufacturing sector. So we have no domestic manufacturing. We have fallen so far behind in that race. We are hopelessly dependent on all these other countries because we literally undermined our own manufacturing because we wanted cheap imports instead. And so we basically, damn, do I really got pause this shit every time I try to keep going? There's some stupid fucking thing, some idiot honker behind me now. Are you fucking kidding me, bro? Can I get a complete thought out without these fucking... That's what it is, bro. I'm not even trying to be a dick. This is kind of what I'm saying. America's just a fucking half-wit fucking country full of just idiots, bro. They don't understand shit. Like, we have an artificially high standard of living based on credit, a high value dollar in overseas markets, cheap imports, and what's happening currently is inflation to the point, and even like there's the bond market and stuff, but that has to do with the issuance of new credit with the government. But essentially people are like, you know, this money ain't good no more. It's honest. If I'm just being honest, the dollar is a fucking shit coin, as the kids say with cryptocurrency. It's a failing asset. It's been in decline for over a century. It's a toxic asset. Like, it's a miracle that people have the international world has fucking, accepted it for so long. That was part of the Bretton Woods agreement, that would be used as a reserve currency to facilitate like international trade and stuff. But so we've had an artificially high standard of living due to the high value dollar in overseas markets, but now it's been inflated so much, people are like, they don't like it no more. And so we're about to lose that position in the global finance situation. And what that is going to lead to is no more cheap imports after already having our entire fucking manufacturing sector rug pulled over the last century. We have no manufacturing. We are not a manufacturing powerhouse anymore. We're primarily agricultural and kind of like technology, like we have companies headquartered in America and then we outsource manufacturing to like China, primarily China. But what I think is going to happen, I don't know, this has been speculation, but I think what's going to happen is kind of like a reverse polarity type thing. So we have been going to other markets and getting cheap imports, but I think the dollar is going to be so low valued that other countries are going to have high value money in our market. So they're going to come to us for cheap labor and, manufacturing and whatnot. And a lot of people don't understand that. And actually, whenever Donald Trump was talking about making America great again, like, I already understood. This was back in like 2015, like it's 10 years ago. I was already understanding this shit. But, exchange rates and everything. He was talking about trade deals. He says we're getting fucking screwed on trade deals. And he was even talking about the fucking currency exchange, China basically devalued their currency. That's what he said. You go look up clips. He's talking about that shit back before he even became president the first time. But he was talking about trade deals and China devaluing the currency, us getting the butt end of it. And so he's talking about fixing the trade deals and shit. So I'm thinking, okay, this shit's already going to happen because inflation is just over the fucking edge already. So it's naturally going to be like a fucking, what do you call that? Like a pole shift with the fucking economic financial situation. And we're going to be the cheap labor market because we're going to have a lower value currency than all the other world currencies. So they're going to come to our market with our low value currency, where their money's worth way more in our market. And they're going to buy cheap labor from us. We're going to be the new fucking, and then we're going to rebuild a manufacturing sector. So when Donald Trump's talking about making America great again, that's what I thought he meant. I thought there was already this fucking pole shift happening. He was just the guy to like be the face of it and brand it and kind of facilitate that, economic shift. And I still think that's coming. He just barely started a second term, like less than a year ago. Has it been less than a year. But, so I was already thinking that back in like 2015, and I think that's what's coming, realistically. But I also think that these people they know that they understand that this artificially high standard, and here's what it is too. America has been used, and I'm not even gonna get to the details of that, but you can look at Trump's affiliations. He's very closely tied with a certain country in the Middle East that, I'm not going to get into details of that, but America has been used, basically, in my opinion, to destabilize the Middle East for the sake of this country and their, ambition in the region. They want to expand and control resource. And honestly, some people say they might be trying to control this country as a satellite nation, and that's something to look out for. But I think most people have a sense of what I'm talking about, which country I'm talking about. But so you can look. So America's been used, and a lot of these wars were, false pretense was created to drag America into it, and so with the high value dollars in overseas markets, and then that's kept Americans kind of just like credit drunk, with a artificially high standard of living. But now that polarity is shifting, and they've been using the United States has basically built itself up as a military fucking powerhouse, whatever. And but the high standard of living, whatever you want to call it, for America, I think is shifting. And I think they know Americans aren't gonna like that, and so for them to like handle that shit is like, I think they have like a planned collapse, coming, and then they have like Trump's already literally putting troops in like various cities. He's like, oh yeah, they're too out of hand, like Chicago and Portland and shit like that, DC. He's like, yeah, too out of hand. It's like, that's fucking martial law, bro. Do you understand that? And then he just cut food stamps right now, so all these poor people, like right before Thanksgiving too, it's barely the end of October right now. And I know all these fucking people are like, oh well, we shouldn't have to pay for the taxpayers. I mean, us taxpayers shouldn't have to pay for poor people shit. And I agree with that. I mean, I think realistically, I think that the government has been subsidizing, I hate to say it, but like the proliferation of low quality humans. If I'm just being honest, like there's like poor people that are like, if I have more kids, I'll get more money from the government. Okay. And then like smart people who actually work and are productive, are like, damn, I could barely afford, to take care of myself. Like they're afraid to have like one or two kids. And the fucking morons that are on fucking welfare. Now, I'm not saying everybody, I'm not trying to be a dick. I was on welfare growing up. But basically the government has subsidized, the lower quality people's proliferation, if I'm just being honest, with cheap like free housing, and that's what it is. I mean, but anyway, yeah, so I'm kind of in disagreement with that. I think if people are on those welfare programs, they really shouldn't be allowed to have kids. Like if you're gonna be on it for any like more than like 2 years or something, let's say, I just think you can't even take care of yourself, you shouldn't be having kids, so whatever. That's my take on it. So I'm not like, I understand the whole thing, taxpayers shouldn't be carrying the weight of all these like freeloaders, like it makes total sense. But at the same time, I understand the greater economic situation, how America has generally been fucking screwed a little bit, kind of put in this corner, if you want to call it that. And I think there's a planned demolition of our economy and maybe even our country as we know it. Like I think we're gonna move into like America 2.0, if you want to call it that. Some people talk about like, oh, it's like I don't even care what people talk about. So I don't know. But yeah, so with that, I think that a lot of shit's gonna go south, and there's gonna be a lot of pain maybe, and I think they have plans for that. They know people are gonna be desperate and basically in a begging state. They've been talking about universal basic income, shit like that. And it's like, well, to be on that, if you want like government rations of food and shit after they fucking collapse the entire economy and make everything fucking dysfunctional, then you're gonna have to comply. You're gonna have to do what the fuck the government tells you. And there might be a lot to that, social credit score type shit with China. And you already got, and I think a lot of people know this shit, a lot of these red pill people, but they already got fucking like technological systems that they're building up. Even Elon on X, he's saying he wants that to be the everything app like WeChat in China. And that's basically a social credit score app in China. He says he wants X to be that. And what's ironic, and I'll go here, X, what is X? X marks the spot, it's a mark. And you guys fucking buddy, Peter Thiel, how you say it? Thiel, freaking working with the government with Palantir and it's fucking like database of everybody and shit. And that's his buddy from PayPal, and he's talking about he wants X to be this financial fucking app. X marks the spot. It's a mark. The financial aspects. What does it say in the Bible about the mark on the beast? You can't buy or sell without it. So he wants X to be this everything app for the financial social credit score. And ironically, it's a mark. And that's just too. And then fucking Peter Thiel, his buddy, fucking just did some shit on the Antichrist the other day. He's like, oh yeah, just feel like doing a presentation on the Antichrist. Like, what the fuck? So yeah, I think and then you see Elon, man, his motherfucker had like an upside down crucifix fucking Halloween costume as his profile pic for like a fucking year on fucking Twitter. Bruh, like, and he's always playing Diablo. Oh my god, like he's putting all these like subtle fucking cues, man. Oh, here comes these ants I was talking about. But yeah, so I think that's the everything. I think they're trying to, I think it was Mark Zuckerberg, maybe he was thinking about it. But I think X is what they're really trying to do it with. And social credit score shit. And right now, man, there's other shit happening, bro. They got a fucking thing, Atlas something coming. They're saying that might be a UFO. They've been talking about a fucking fake alien invasion for fucking ever. Bro, I feel like these motherfuckers got like a whole lot of shit planned. And then there's like Agenda 21 in the United Nations, but then Agenda 2030. That's like a deadline these motherfuckers have. That's 5 years from now. That's not even 5 years, like 4 years, because it's almost the end of 25. Like, bro, like these motherfuckers, I'm telling you, it's like, it is like a lot of shit. It's like a tidal wave of just shit coming. Now, I think really what they have planned is a fucking collapse of American life as we know it and into America 2.0. And that's going to be a social credit score, probably us being the fucking cheap labor for the world. And it's all going to... What do they say with the fucking World Economic Forum? You're going to own nothing and be happy? Eat fucking... I don't even want to go there, bro. But, eat Z-bugs. People would make it... Man, this fucking crazy, bro. But that's like what they got planned, set up, man. I'm telling you. It's like, it's a... This is social engineering, like, at a high level. They plan this shit well in advance, bro. Like...